guys, I figured I'd give you an update on the build. Decided to get a rear hub motor, obviously, because of the problems we've had. I found out why this had such a bad spin out. It's had some serious issues with rubbing. As you can see, this stator used to be all black the last time I opened it, and it's a lot of rubbing, especially on this area here. I think some of the reasons why it got worse is because originally I had the fans, you heard in my videos, I've had the fans running constant. Last week I decided to reinstate my thermal probe here. That actually does work, and when it gets to a certain temperature it turns the fans on. But I think it was running hotter that way than it was if they were running constant. So the stator likely swelled up even more than it was already rubbing pretty bad. The magnets, not only is it rubbed right through the enamel paint that I had in there, it's actually rubbed past the first layer of the magnet itself. The silver part of the plating of the magnet is, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's been doing that for a while, and that's it doesn't help. So you get the heat from the stator, plus the magnet rubbing, and then you got the force of the e-brake that I'm constantly using. I'm not surprised it didn't have such a bad, why it had such a bad spin out. The windings are darker. I thought there was going to be some bad burns in here because you could literally smell this when it was done a ride. But it's evenly baked all the way around. This used to be orange, now it's like cherry red. The only time you really have to worry is when it gets black around the joints, or if you have a full phase that's going black but the rest stay light, then you know your motor's on the way out. This one here is just basically broken in. There's probably lots of life left in it. I found the bearings on the disc brake side have side play, which is bad. As you can see, it moves. And the one on this side, on this plate here, has got a really bad flat spot where it's hit a bump and the bearings have basically slammed into the race and pitted the race. So if I recommend anybody who wants a hub motor, do a bearing swap after 5 years. You probably won't run into this if you swap the bearings out. But I'll never go more than 5 years without swapping the bearings out, because, you know, they'll extend the life of the motor. Like, I knew this was a problem. It's just you can't really, like, you can hear it, but you can't really feel it. So that's what sped up the spin out. I'm still going to use the motor though. I'm going to pull my fans out, the thermal diode out. I'm going to rewire it with a cheap wire, just so I can use it as a tester. And we'll put it on a stand, so it still works. So, or if I find a use for it maybe in frame, maybe center mount project or whatever. I've done that in the past. Anyway, I'm not throwing it out. I'm not too sure if the new motor is going to have a rear disc brake, so I might. It has basically. It's not round like this. It's flat like this. So I might just swap the plates out. If I have to modify it, I will. Yeah, we'll see what the new motor has in store for us. It doesn't show a picture of the one side, so I have no idea if it's brake disc compatible. Likely not. So we'll probably be reusing that plate there. Update on the bike. I basically reused the Walmart front rim. It's never been used. Unfortunately, it's not that true to start with. Typical Walmart. I'm not going to bother truing it until it has a chance to break in and stretch the spokes. Put my used brake disc on there, and I made sure that all the screws are new and they all have Loctite on them. So that's out of the way. I reused I've never had gears on this bike, so I decided to do that the other day. I ground off the lever off the Walmart bike and mounted it in a way that I could reach them. It's not perfect, but it works. The cable mount doesn't come all the way to the back. Obviously, it's a stretch bike. It comes to about here. and then I add an extra piece here, and it goes to the frame there, and then here it's connected with a bolt. That bolt, you can get those from rear side pull brakes. It's usually the bolt with a little pinhole in the middle. If you put 2 washers on each side and the bolt, you can use that as a clamp to clamp both cables together. It works great. They don't come loose. We can sit like that for years. But this is basically a 2-piece cable system here, and the indexing works great. It's obviously these cables are new; they're going to stretch, but it works good. I swapped the derailleur out as well. This is the Shimano Churney TZ that comes with the Walmart bike. Cheap as it gets. You see that gear there, how cheap that is. But it works good. It indexes good, and it hasn't been slammed into the wheel yet. I also got a new cluster that I want to put on, but I'm going to wait until I get the hub motor, because I don't know if the one that comes with the hub motor is indexed, which it likely isn't, and then I'll just throw it on that. The one that's on here now is pretty old, but I'll show you how well it works considering it's Frankenstein. I'll just put you down here. Not bad. Always have to make more changes when I get the new wheel in and adjust it again. So that's about it. At least I have working gears now. That I've had to. It's not working. I'm gonna pull the fans out, take that off, and like I said, I'll just save it as a spare or as a tester. Hopefully I don't need to use the plate, but if I do, I'll just put the new plate on it and make a stand for it. Later, guys.